G'day and welcome to another edition of the Aussie Ideas Man. This time I'm going to evaluate modern sunlight, and I'll be evaluating his evaluation of the cretin. And I'm going to do modern sunlight because, well, I don't think much of him, to tell the truth. I just don't think he thinks rationally most of the time. Now, I watched this morning. I'd had a good night's sleep. The first thing I saw this morning was this video, and I watched it, and within 15 minutes I was back asleep again. Ended up waking up near the end of it and having to backtrack and find where I was and then watch the whole thing. There was a lot of boring stuff through there, so I'm going to chop a lot out of this video, a real lot. The usual method is going to be used. I will stop him and make some comments, but mostly I think I'll be putting text boxes in after the fact. So here we go.
Good morning. So I thought I would go ahead and continue to make some videos with the angle of kind of realistically reviewing not only the videos that are coming out on the APTERA Owners Club by the APTERA Owners Club and sort of what they missed. That's a good, what APTERA Owners Club missed.
In the main, we both agree. That is, I don't think APTERA is going to make it, and he doesn't think APTERA is going to make it. I don't think people should invest unless they really are prepared to throw away their money, and he thinks likewise. And so we are in agreement. But the thing is, what few points we agree on doesn't change the fact that there are things I disagree with about him, and so he gets the video.
Sort of the point counterpoint, if you will. And again, I'm sure it will be seen by any extreme supporter to be negative trolling behaviors, but it's not. It's trying to get a more realistic view and pointing out the faults that Steve is making by not displaying this stuff, so that people have a more well-rounded understanding of the company and its where it's at.
And that's exactly what I do, except that I'm more rational about it.
It's in a very critical state, and I was able to post some comments that so I need to apologize or recant, I guess, on my accusations that Steve might be intentionally censoring my posts, because I have no idea what YouTube, how it behaves and what it's doing, but my posts do disappear. Sometimes after a day or two, I'll go back to look for something that I know I posted on a specific video, because I used to lose them, and it was my fault again in the past. And then I learned to take note of which video I replied to and what the topic was. And sure enough, it would be gone. So I can't but help suspect there was or has been intentional censor.
The bottom line is, both YouTube and most of the pro APTERA video makers do remove people's comments. Most of the time, the YouTube pro APTERA video makers will block permanently, which is being a cretin in my book. And one can look at my What's a Cretin video to understand what I mean. Now, YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube removes things on an individual basis. So if they remove once, the next time you post something, they won't be removing it unless that particular one offends them in some way. It's on an individual basis. They have been known to remove people permanently, but that's rare. When it comes to pro APTERA video makers, they go for the permanent block most of the time, and that's because they are cretins. They lack ethics, and they've got something to hide. It's usually greed that makes them do it. They want to make money out of their videos one way or the other.
Censoring going on, but it's neither here nor there. I'm not going to sit down and whatever try to prove it. I wanted to throw it out there to the community. Then, since creating this channel, of course, I had it a long time ago, but posting to it recently and people wanting to kind of actually reply to some of these things. Um, and good discussions going on my channel, by the way. Unfortunately, I banned two of the players in it because they're just so extreme. It's kind of like a microcosm of politics extreme supporter of APTERA who can't get away from name calling and all the sort of in the lack of humanity and empathy toward other people and their opinions, even if they might be different than than what he believes about APTERA. Yeah, and yeah, I won't stand for that. I can stand for anybody's opinion as long as they're being uh, uh, respectful to the.
He's talking about what I'll call the gull here, and the gull does go for the jugular. He attacks the person and does do some pretty severe name calling. Now, the reason why I disagree with him doing that is because the gull doesn't do it every time, so doesn't deserve to be fully banned. He is able to just make a reply each time and say, tone it down, or whatever. Or I think this is not right for you to say, or to put up on as a comment. There's nothing wrong with that. YouTube polices this themselves, and he has no need to police it any more than what YouTube does. Just let YouTube do their job, and if it gets by them, then it gets by. He doesn't have to have a higher standard than YouTube.
Humanity of others. That's my main criteria, period. So I banned him. It was that Gull Wings in Mo Clips. Hi, if you're out there. He's probably the only one watching these. So hello. And then Aussie Ideas Man, whatever he is. And I abandoned him and his channel a long time ago just because he's too rude and obnoxious and kind of just not a fun character to listen to in his banterings with his name calling and all that stuff. And again,
So now for me, why should he decide that if he personally doesn't like the way I write comments, why should he ban the comments? He's providing a forum for a large portion of society, people who are interested. And what he's doing is inflicting his own personal views and interests on everybody. There is no reason to do that. You should not be a YouTube influencer if you restrict what other people read to what you personally like to read yourself. It's just wrong. It is just wrong. He needs to stop that. He needs to have some regard for his wider audience. And this is why I say he can't think rationally.
it strikes me whenever you're knocking another person's character or personality or whoever they are, even if they're acting a little off, no leeway whatsoever, unless of course they're on your side, then you'll back them up. You play into that frenzy. So that's the stuff I wanted to get away from by banning them. But unfortunately, there were a couple discussion threads in there that I responded to.
Whether one person is on your side or not is irrelevant. What is relevant is freedom of speech, allowing YouTube to do their job, and having regard for the wider audience, allowing the wider audience to participate and not restrict them to your own personal views. If you want to do that, you shouldn't be a YouTube influencer. It's just wrong. And I've said that before, I repeat it. Wrong. It is also wrong to have your lovely ideals about being nice to other people above what the topic is. The topic is the silly trike, whether it is fit for purpose or not, whether it will come out or not. Are these people that are making it honest? Are they competent? These are the issues that matter most. It should not be overridden by some irrational person's idea that being nice to others matters more than that. The whole existence of APTERA Motors and what they are doing shouldn't be gagged by some clown's humanistic ideals. He's just in the wrong place.
That I felt were very useful. They disappeared. If they come up again, I'm confident I can respond in a healthy way to address those concerns. But in the meantime, it's I think the most disheartening thing for me in my latest posts, and I think I've put a couple on each of these, is the fact that Steve, you happen to be business as usual, and if you don't catch it within yourself, I'm detecting, and I have the whole time, which is why I abandoned the channel a long time ago, even before the accelerator program, because it was so skewed and so downplaying of any of the real negative style of decision making that's going on. And again, the community was just hypersensitive to anything that would say, these guys might not know what they're doing, or, you know, anything that's legit concern and criticism by anyone would get pounced on. So, anyways, the problem I'm seeing is that it's still going on, and the writing's on the wall. This
I'll make this the end of a part one because it's so long. He's got to what the cretin does, and he's just reflect what I have always said about the cretin, that he will make mention of a few negative factors and then spend the rest of his time working it around so that the negatives don't seem that negative at all, and then accentuate the positive. It's very tricky, it's a stunt, and I have seen through it long before he has. I've got a feeling the way he speaks that he has learned from my past videos and he's just paraphrasing what I have brought up. And I agree with him that the cretin doesn't learn. It's my opinion that the cretin has seen my videos, has seen my accusations, and refuses to change. He might be just clever enough to learn from me, but it's that lack of ethics that makes him refuse to change. Well, I think I'll leave that for part one. Make these short. That's all from me. Bye for now. Till part two. Stay safe.